Don't freak out.
Chuck Norris is an actor, producer, and screenwriter, master of martial arts, author of several best-selling books, creator of television programs, and successful businessman. In this video, you will learn why he left his film career and how he became one of the top memes of the 2000s. Chuck Norris, how the Texas Ranger lives and where he spends his millions. Carlos Ray Norris was born March 10, 1940 in Ryan, Oklahoma, and grew up with two younger brothers. According to our hero, his ancestors include Irish and Cherokee Indians. His father had a serious drinking problem, so the family lived in poverty for a long time without even a proper home, as they had to huddle in a trailer. Eventually, his father abandoned the family and his mother got married to the widower George Knight. It was his stepfather who instilled a love of sports in the young man and also showed him what a loving husband and father should be. In his school days, the future master of martial arts didn't stand out either in sports or academic achievements. Because of this, he was often attacked by his peers and became more and more withdrawn. At the same time, remembering hunger and poverty, young Carlos began working early. In high school, he got a job as a loader and gave part of the money to his mother and grandmother to take care of his younger brothers. His first big purchase was a second-hand car, and his first passenger was classmate Diane Holchek. At that moment, the modest young man was in love with the girl and didn't yet know that she would become the mother of his future children. As soon as Carlos turned 18, he enlisted in the U.S. Army, and while he was training, he proposed to Diane. They got married on one of his tours of duty. By the way, it was in boot camp that Norris got his name Chuck. A fellow Hispanic soldier thought the name Carlos was inappropriate for a white guy, so he changed it to Charles, and then shortened it to Chuck. Among his family, however, our man remains Carlos. Soon, Norris went to a military base in South Korea where he broke his shoulder in the first few days. It was this unpleasant incident that turned his life upside down. Dying of boredom, the young man went to look around and saw an outlandish battle between two guys. The fighters moved with incredible speed and flexibility, executing precise and powerful punches. Back at base, Carlos turned to a judo trainer and began to learn a new kind of wrestling, tangsudo. He spent 2 years honing his skills and competing in duels. He returned home as a strong man with a black belt. Upon his return to the States, Chuck continued to serve at an Air Force base in California for some time, and after being discharged in 1962, he applied for police work. According to other reports, he worked at the Northrop Aviation Plant. Also in 1962, he and Diane had their firstborn son, Michael. In order to provide for his family, the young father began to work part-time, conducting martial arts training in the backyard of his house. Later, this part-time job grew into a serious business. Chuck opened his own karate school, and by 1965, the school had grown into a network of training rooms across the United States. Chuck's family also grew as Diane gave birth to another son, Eric. But not everything was smooth in their relationship, as in 1963, the man had a daughter born out of wedlock, Dina. She didn't get to know her father until she was 16 and met him only at 26. Soon, Norris's first successes in sports came. In 1965, he took first place at the All-Star Championship in Los Angeles, and in 1968, he won the World Karate Light Heavyweight title. He held that title for a full 7 years. It became prestigious to be trained with Chuck Norris, and celebrities began to sign up for training. For example, the wife of the king of rock and roll, Priscilla Presley, and the popular Hollywood actor Steve McQueen. It was he who advised Chuck to try his hand at acting. In the first film, Norris was not even listed in the credits. In the crime comedy The Wrecking Crew in 1968, he played an ordinary gangster and was present in the frame for about 3 minutes. The real turning point in Chuck's career was his acquaintance with Bruce Lee. In 1972, he invited Chuck to star in the movie The Way of the Dragon, where the novice actor played the role of the villain.
Bob's my student.
It took several weeks for Lee and Norris to prepare for the fighting scene. They worked together with a choreographer and developed each movement to create a dynamic fight. As a result, the film The Way of the Dragon became an action movie with huge popularity and brought our hero his first fame. On the set, the actors became such good friends that when Lee died in 1973, Norris was one of those who carried the coffin at his funeral. After a brilliant debut, Chuck was first offered a cameo role in the comedy The Student Teachers, then the role of the villain character in the low-budget Hong Kong action movie Slaughters in San Francisco.
Celles qui sont avec moi et celles qui meurent. Votre proposition ne m'intéresse pas, monsieur, et je ne suis pas encore mort.
By the way, despite the fact that the film was made in 1974, it did not appear on the big screens in the United States until 7 years later when the film company was able to capitalize on the popularity of Chuck Norris. More important roles required better skills, so in conjunction with filming, our hero was trained in the Estelle Harmon Acting School. He was the oldest student there. At the time, he was already 34 years old. The effort was not in vain, and in 1977, Chuck got his first major role. In the movie Breaker Breaker, he played a tough trucker trying to find his missing younger brother. The fee of the little-known actor was only $10,000. But in the next film, Good Guys Wear Black, his rate has grown to $40,000. In another film, A Force of One, Norris played a karate champion, teaching the police martial arts and received $125,000 for his work.
I thought I taught you to heighten your awareness.
If I weren't aware, you'd be dead, Mr. Logan.
You learn fast.
From that moment on, Chuck became really popular and films with his participation began to please fans of action movies every year. In 1980, he played a bodyguard of a rich lady in the film The Octagon in 1981. A policeman in the dramatic action movie An Eye for an Eye. His fees rose to $250,000. 1982 was marked by the release of two films at once, Forced Vengeance and Silent Rage. In 1983, Norris tried on the role of a ranger for the first time in the film Lone Wolf McQuade.
Sorry, this is by invitation only.
This is my invitation.
Hey.
The popularity of the energetic actor was growing. He became a real star of the Canon Pictures Film Company and signed a contract with them for the making of 5 films. They were notable for the variety and complexity of stories, and the audience liked them. The most famous film of the time was the movie Missing in Action, about a Vietnam War veteran who returns to find and save his comrades in arms.
You're a goddamn embarrassment, Braddock.
That's why I'm here, Senator.
By the way, Chuck dedicated this action film and its sequel, Missing in Action 2: The Beginning, to his younger brother Wieland, who died in Vietnam in 1970. And after the release of the sequel, Braddock Missing in Action 3 in 1988, Norris threatened to sue the Canon Film Company for an insufficient advertising campaign of the film. The actor himself considered this film the strongest in his career. But let's go back to 1985. From that year to 1993, the actor showed his signature U-turn kick in a dozen films: Code of Silence, Invasion USA, The Delta Force, Firewalker, Hero and the Terror, Delta Force 2, The Colombian Connection, The Hitman, and Sidekicks.
This is a little joke here.
What?
Oh, come on, Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris.
You got a problem with that, son?
In all of these films, the viewer was treated to the obligatory happy endings, fight scenes in which Chuck was victorious, and minor love lines. The actor also voiced an animated series about himself, Chuck Norris Karate Commandos. Big changes were happening not only in Chuck's career, but also in his personal life. In 1989, after 30 years of marriage, Chuck Norris and Diane Holchick decided to part ways. The divorce was amicable and without scandal. The former spouses have maintained excellent relations with each other and their adult children. The really big breakthrough that brought Chuck Norris worldwide fame was the start to the filming of the TV series Walker, Texas Ranger.
Half an hour, there'll be 50 armed men here surrounding the perimeter. You know what will happen?
Yeah, I'll die a hero.
No, you'll just die. Is that what you want?
What I want is a chopper.
The series has been on American television for a long 9 seasons, including the pilot season. It tells the story of Cordell Walker, a Texas Ranger who fights crime in his home state. At first glance, one might think that the main thing in the show is spectacular fights, but a deeper analysis makes it clear that the screenwriters placed a vivid emphasis on family values and friendship. Harsh at work, Cordell Walker in life is a loving father and husband, always ready to protect his loved ones and help his friends. These topics are touched upon in every episode and make the series even more appealing to viewers. The fight scenes are good too, and some of them even became iconic. Despite being busy with the series, movies starring Chuck continue to come out almost every year. Among them are Hellbound, Wind in the Wire, Top Dog, Forest Warrior, Logan's War, Bound by Honor, The President's Man, and the TV series Sons of Thunder and Martial Law. Moreover, Norris didn't forget about his coaching activities and in 1997 released a video, Chuck Norris Private Lesson, which clearly demonstrated the techniques, punches, and throws inherent in some styles of martial arts. During the same period, the actor met a new love. She was the model and designer Gina O'Kelly. At the time of their wedding in 1998, Chuck was 58 and Gina was 35. They both already had the experience of marriage and children. As the actor himself admits, it was love at first sight, so they got married soon after meeting. 3 years later, with the help of artificial insemination, they had twins, a girl, Dana Lee, and a boy, Dakota. According to rumors, Walker Texas Ranger was not supposed to end in 2001. The show was going to be extended for at least 2 more seasons. However, after learning about Gina's pregnancy, Norris decided to hang up his cowboy hat. During this period, Chuck's acting career faded into the background and he concentrated on activities of another kind. Chuck began writing books, 3 of which became bestsellers. One of Chuck's latest works is called Black Belt Patriotism: How to Reawaken America. The actor also became active in his social life, promoting religious ideas and concepts of traditional values. In 2006, he became the author of a column for a right-wing political publication where he expressed his beliefs. As a matter of fact, Chuck still actively opposes the legalization of same-sex marriages and fights for the right to freely carry firearms. Together with his wife, Norris served on the board of the National Council on Bible Curriculum in Public Schools, where he is an active advocate for the introduction of mandatory prayer in the classroom. Norris also founded a charity which helps children and adolescents get rid of their addictions by taking up martial arts. Meanwhile, viewers could see the action star in the films The President's Man: A Line in the Sand, Bells of Innocence, Dodgeball: A True Underdog Story, and The Cutter. In 2005, the crew of Walker Texas Ranger got together again to shoot a feature film, Walker Texas Ranger: Trial by Fire.
You know I couldn't do this.
I know, Red. We'll find a way to clear you.
Several more sequels were planned to be released, but the ratings of the old-school Walker were not at their best. Norris is known in the US for his loud political statements. For example, in 2009, he said that Texans may well aspire to create an independent country on their own territory. Moreover, the actor expressed confidence that he could be an excellent candidate for the role of president of the newly formed state. For several years, Chuck Norris did not appear in the movie screens, but in 2012, he joined the team of The Expendables in the second part of Stallone's film franchise.
You're the one people call a lone wolf?
I've been called that, but I have mellowed.
Not that much.
Incidentally, the name of his character Booker is an homage to the movie Good Guys Wear Black, where Norris's character is named John T. Booker. Also, in both films, Norris plays a retired military man who participates in a rescue operation to help his old comrades. The film was warmly received by both audiences and critics and grossed $315 million at the box office. In 2017, there was tragic news about the personal life of our hero. He admitted that he gave up his acting career because of the fatal illness of his beloved wife, Gina. Then the spouses began a lawsuit against 11 companies responsible for the production and distribution of drugs used for MRI. The Norrises said that these drugs were the cause of Gina's severe health problems and demanded damages of over $10 million. According to their claims, in 2013, Gina went for a routine MRI procedure, and a few days later, the young and healthy woman woke up at night with severe abdominal pain and was admitted to the intensive care unit for several days. Over time, the symptoms were joined by tremors, muscle weakness, low body temperature, weight loss, hair loss, and other serious health problems. The situation deteriorated so much that at one point the woman could no longer take care of herself, and her husband kept his vow to be there for her in sickness and in wealth, interrupting his career to take care of Gina until she fully recovered. The outcome of the drug poisoning litigation was unpredictable. The dispute was dismissed at Norris's request without settlement, and each side agreed to pay its own legal costs. The woman's health was severely compromised, even though she recovered and survived after a long period of therapeutic treatment. It is known that Norris now tries to spend as much time as possible with his family and travel extensively, although such squabbles affected him too. The actor had 2 consecutive heart attacks. By the way, this is not the only case of litigation involving Norris. In 2018, Chuck sued Sony Pictures and the CBS network, which owns the distribution rights to Walker, Texas Ranger. CBS originally agreed to pay the actor 23% of all profits from all broadcasts, but according to the actor, he was under-receiving income from viewings of the series on online streaming services. The actor demanded a payment of $30 million. Notably, Norris holds the title of Honorary Texan. He received this honor not only because he lived on a ranch in Texas for many years, but also because of his roles as Lone Wolf McQuade and Texas Ranger Walker. Chuck lived a large part of his life in the state of Texas. For a long time, he owned a gorgeous 2,100 square foot house in the Northwood Hills area of Dallas. Among other things, the 4-bedroom home had 3 fireplaces, a media room, a pool surrounded by lush greenery, a large patio, a gym, and even an elevator. In 2013, the property went on the market for $1.2 million, or according to other sources, $1.6 million. A few years later, the actor's estate in California's North Tustin was put up for sale for $3.5 million. In the center of the 2-story house, there was a floor-to-ceiling glass vestibule. Brick walls and wooden posts and beams complemented the overall style. A lake, saltwater pool, and trees that cost more than $1 million to plant adorn the grounds of the estate. The Norris family currently resides on a ranch in Navasota, Texas. In addition to the usual things in celebrity homes like a gym and stables, the actor boasts a Chuck Norris museum and a real-life alligator. What's more, there's a lake on the ranch, and the family uses military vehicles to move around the property. Another of our hero's favorites vehicles are American pickup trucks. He had a Ford F-350, and another similar Snow White vehicle was seen near his ranch. Chuck Norris's house is not just a good investment in real estate, it's also a super return on investment because across the street from it, there's a Seaforth Bottling Co., one of the largest privately owned water bottling companies. It occupies nearly 3 square miles of manufacturing space. The Seaforth water brand was launched by Chuck and his wife in 2015. Naturally, the actor became the advertising face of the water. By the way, this is not Chuck's only income. For just $300, anyone can order a video greeting from Cordell Walker. Not a bad price for a 2-minute video recorded on the front camera of a phone. Another line of his income was the smartphone game Non-Stop Chuck Norris. The game allows users to take on the role of Chuck Norris's sidekick and defeat an endless array of enemies. And of course, we can't ignore the phenomenon of Chuck Norris's popularity online. His entire acting career is a fertile field for the creation of gags and memes. The unwavering indestructibility of his characters has become the ground for more than 500,000 memes, collectively called Chuck Norris Facts. These facts usually describe Chuck Norris as an invincible hero who can handle any situation and defeat any opponent. For example, there is no chin under Chuck Norris's beard. There's another fist there. Chuck Norris once looked at the sun for hours. The sun failed and blinked. Or, when Chuck Norris cuts an onion, the onion cries. By the actor's own admission, his favorite joke goes like this.
I heard another rumor that you were bitten by a king cobra.
Yeah, I was. But after 5 days of agonizing pain, the cobra died.
In fact, not only internet users but entire corporations are involved in the creation of memes. In particular, Google has prepared an Easter egg for anyone looking for information about the actor on the web. If you type the text "Find Chuck Norris" into the search box and click "I'm feeling lucky," you'll go to an article with the following content. Google won't search for Chuck Norris because it knows you don't find Chuck Norris, he finds you. Web search suggestions might also be "run before he finds you" or "try another person." In the 2000s, memes about the actor became so popular that Norris himself released the official Chuck Norris Factbook 101 of Chuck's favorite facts and stories and started a commercial that was based on those jokes. According to the advertising slogan, 10 million people can play World of Warcraft because Chuck Norris allows them to live. The sellable image of the invincible Chuck generally played into the hands of many brands, which starred him in their commercials. The American actor became a character in a Toyota commercial, in which, thanks to his autograph on the front fender, the pickup truck was transformed into a superhero. He also became the face of a non-alcoholic beer, AB InBev, the T-Mobile group of companies, a poker game, Fiat cars, and in 2021, New Year Eve Offensive from Chuck appeared on the World of Tanks YouTube channel. Today, Chuck is a loving husband, father, and grandfather. He has 13 grandchildren from 5 children. His fortune is estimated at about $70 million. He spends all his time with his family, does charity work, and helps children and teenagers get rid of addictions. In recent years, the actor returned to filming only once, appearing in an episode of the series Hawaii Five-0.
We know who you are. We know what you've done for this country, and we respect that.
If that's true, then I suggest you turn around and drive away.
By the time he was 83, Cordell Walker had proven that he's cool in everything he does. What's your favorite movie starring the invincible Norris? Write in the comments and don't forget to give us a like. Otherwise, Chuck Norris will find you. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything interesting.